I get comments on my channel all the time. Oh, welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. I get comments on my channel all the time, sort of leading to China one day just sort of falling apart. You know, things like, I got a comment, I'm not sure who it was from this morning, but it sort of started out, well, China's GDP back in 1978 through 82, a 5-year time period, or 83, a 5-year time period, grew 100 and some percent, and the next 5 years grew 100 and some percent, but it always was lower and lower and lower, and sort of alluding to the idea that China's falling apart and will fall apart in due course. As their population gets older, and ages, as any population does when you get a more robust economy, and it's just the way it is. People live longer, they're more drawn society and whatever. So it's getting to the point, this person says, that the GDP is growing so slowly. I think the last 5 years it was only 36%. But you've got to understand, in 1978, the GDP of China was 149.5 billion US dollars. So to double that each year, when you're in an economic growth spurt like China was, because it just opened up to capitalism in 1978, and Shenzhen, I think, was the first place. But you know, they widened it through Guangdong province between 78 and 1980, and so you're going to see a big growth in GDP and exports and whatever, because Guangdong was basically their economy was based on manufacturing and exporting out of the country. All right, so that's great. Farmers took over their own land. They were producing their own crops instead of doing it for the government, and all of these different things. So when anything like that happens, when you're doing it for yourself, you're going to do better. You're going to work harder. It's just human nature, guys. But when you get to $14.7 trillion worth of GDP, like it was here in 2020, well then chances are you're not going to be able to double that as easily as you are $149.5 billion like it back in 1978. So as the GDP goes up into the trillions of dollars, and they're not very far behind the United States on GDP at this point, but purchasing power parity, China's actually ahead of the United States in economic thrust for how much bang you get for your buck type thing. But we're not talking about that here today. You know, so the idea that they've gotten such a robust economy, yeah, they're not going to be able to double, triple any of that in a 5-year time period anymore, because their economy is just too freaking big, guys. Okay, now you got to take this into account also. Back in 1978, you know how much automated manufacturing there was? None. It was all done by laborers, and you know, up until just recently, it has all been done by laborers, except for maybe the really large automobile manufacturing companies around the world, and basically in China also. Actually, China is the largest manufacturer of automobiles in the world. They dwarf the United States, and they're not just building stuff for Toyota and Chevrolet and BMW anymore. They're building their own units, and a lot of people say Chinese stuff is garbage. It used to be. It ain't no more, guys. They're building state-of-the-art automobiles. But again, that's not what this video is about. As they automate their manufacturing, and they have been doing it for a number of years now here in China, you need less laborers. You need less people on the floor of your manufacturing companies to get these products made and out to the wholesaler, consumer, whatever, wherever you're selling your goods. Okay, as China is in a position like this now with automated manufacturing companies across the country, The rest of the world is just sort of ramping up to do manufacturing. They're just beginners in it. They say, well, Vietnam is going to take over, the Philippines, Brazil, India. Well, yeah, but you see, they're going to be using manual labor to do all of these things, and that's not being able to compete with China in any way, just for the fact that these automated manufacturing companies can spit this stuff out, pennies on the dollar, and they're not paying wages, they're not housing people, they're not feeding people, they're not paying benefits, health benefits, old age pensions, to you name it. So to compete with China on a scale like that is going to be pretty difficult, because they've got such a head start on the rest of the world in their manufacturing, and they didn't stop and say, oh yeah, we're just going to keep making it the way we did. They knew their population was getting older and older and older. The one-child policy sort of pooched them on that one. I thought that was a mistake, and I still think it's a mistake. Now they've gone to the two-child policy. Did I just say something bad about what the Chinese government did? Oh my God, they're going to come and fricassee me. Or not, you know what I mean? But the thing is that was a bad idea, and as the population grew older and we weren't having a lot of children, well, they saw in the future that things are going to go the wrong way. So what do? Exactly, they automate their manufacturing. That's exactly what's happening here in China at this time. There are a number of reasons, and I can't get into all of them in one video, but you know, you look around in this Tier 2 city. Sure, it's the capital city of Guangxi Autonomous Region, but it just went from a Tier 3 to a Tier 2 city. And they have infrastructure, they build buildings, they build highways, they build subways and high-speed trains, they build office buildings and apartment buildings, complexes and businesses, and they build all of these things. Keeps the people busy, and they have the infrastructure to have people move around freely in this country. I'm going to put a couple of B-rolls in this area just to see some of the, but you know, you can see it behind you, can't you? You can see how China is growing and has grown over the last number of years. But what people are missing about China is that you're not understanding the people. The people in China will work harder, they will work longer, they will work into their 60s and 70s, and physical labor. You're missing out on the women of China will take on man jobs, shoveling ditches and cleaning streets, and all of, you know, the stuff that is basically male-dominated jobs in the West. The women here in China will pick those jobs up. So you're underestimating the Chinese people and their resilience and the way that they do things. China has been educating their young people. It has the largest education system in the entire world, and it dwarfs anybody else. So not only do they have a lot more laborers that work a lot longer, but you know what? They have the smartest people in the world. They have the most educated people. They have the most engineers, the most architects. They have all of these things going for them. So when you say that China is going to run into a brick wall and quit growing, at some point it may quit growing, but by that time their GDP every year will be so high that it won't make any difference. They'll be a first-class, first-world country, and they'll be thriving like and better than places like the United States and Canada, because of their government. And I got to give kudos to the government on some of the stuff that they do. See, and the people in China are working smarter too. They're not just in China doing business. They're doing business around the world. I did a video, I don't know, but a year ago about how much China owned in the United States, just alone in the United States. And like, they have massive businesses in the United States. They own massive amounts of properties and stuff in the United States. They do the same in Canada, they do the same in Europe, they're in Africa, they're in Australia, they're in the Middle East, South America. So if you think that the Chinese economy is only based on what's happening here in China, you're delusional. So it's And those businesses are based on the population of the people in those countries. And a lot of those countries are countries that are just growing. See, they're not just relying on China for their future. They're relying on the world, and that's what this Belt and Road Initiative is they are doing things around the world. They're making business associates around the world. They're making not only their country, but their businesses and their people stronger, not only in China, but around the world. So when you think that it's just a microeconomy here in China, it's not. It's a macroeconomy dealing with the entire world. But anyway, that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to resubscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and whatever you do, don't forget to put a couple bucks in the children's Patreon account. It's for a good cause. Thanks for watching. Bye now. So what have you got there, Wifang?
Do you know, you guys, do you know what is the flowers? I see up there. That's a special flowers from Nanning City. It's called 木棉花.